And I'm back. Is it recording? Ah, it's recording. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to waste your time. Adding and subtracting mixed numbers. All right. So as you can see, we've got 3 and 3/8 plus 2 and 1/8. You might immediately know or see on here that the bottoms of these fractions are the same, which means we could add them. However, we've got a mess because we've got 3 and then a fraction plus 2 and then another fraction. And even though the bottoms are the same, it still makes it kind of complicating. So let me undo that and I'll show you. The easiest way to do this is to just forget about the whole numbers until the end. They're big numbers, so we can just add them together at the end. All right? So then we're just left with 3/8 plus 1/8. Now the bottoms are the same, so we could just add the tops. 4/8. 4/8 reduces down because you can divide the top and bottom by 2 equals 2 over 4. And if you divide the top and bottom by 2 again, you get 1 over 2. Okay, so that's a half. What about those whole numbers? Well, we bring down the whole numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. So 5 and a half. And we just combined them at the end. That's pretty easy, okay? Now the hard part comes when we're adding and subtracting, and the SOL will ask you to do this. This will be the stuff that they want to see, is when the denominators are not the same. Luckily, they try to keep the fractions low, and this is a pretty simple example as far as adding mixed numbers together. So, like I said before, just ignore the whole numbers. We're going to add 3/4 plus 1/8. Now, the bottoms are not the same, so we need to make a common denominator between these two denominators. So 4 and 8, you could times the bottoms to get a common denominator, or you could use 8. For this example, to show how to reduce a little bit more, we're going to use multiplying the bottoms to get 8 times 4, 32, giving you 2 new fractions with 32 on the bottom. And you're adding, so we're adding. Okay, so what times 4 is, I'll stick with black, times 4 is 32. We have to go from 4 to 32. It's the same fraction, but the numbers are going to be different. So 4 times 8 is 32. So if I do that to the bottom, I do to the top. Times 8. Anything I do to one, I do to the other. So 3 times 8 goes on the top here. 3 times 8, 24. Whoever said that in the audience is correct. Yes, I can hear you. 8 was not times 8. 8 was times something to get to 32. 8, 16, 24, 32, that's 4. 8 times 4 is 32. So if I times 4 on the bottom, I times 4 on the top. So this is what I'm left with. 32 on the bottom, okay, 24 on the top of this one and 4 on the top of that one, making this 28 on the top. 32 stays on the bottom, so 28 over 32. And our whole numbers are going to add to 5. We'll just remember that at the end. We can come back, but it's a giant screen, so I'm writing very, very big also. I'm going to go to the next screen, and we're going to reduce 28 over 32. Now remember, to reduce, you've got to divide the top and bottom by the same number to get it smaller. Now you could think of any number that goes into both of them, but the higher, the better. Now, if you can't think of anything, then you might just try to use 2 if they're both even. So they're both even, I'm going to try to use 2. So divide by 2, eventually you'll get to a small enough fraction that'll be acceptable. So that's 14, we chop that sucker in half. 16, If we chop them both in half again, you're left with 7 over 8. That's dividing by 2. 7 over 8, and 7's prime, that doesn't go into it either, so you're done with the fraction. Remember that whole number was 5, so this is the total answer. The hard part is seeing this whole thing and seeing a fraction and a whole number and another fraction and a whole number and then trying to add and subtract them. It's designed to make you kind of freak out a little bit. But if you take it one step at a time and do the fractions first and then bring in the whole numbers at the end, it's just adding and subtracting regular fractions. In fact, they're usually easier fractions than if there wasn't a whole number because they're trying to trick you. All right, that's it for today. Bye-bye. Please pass the test. Thank you. Bye-bye.